So when I was 20 years old, I romanticized the idea of making money with my photography. I thought if I could turn my creativity into a business, it would solve all my problems. And now, at 32 years old, I found success in both photography and internet media creation. And I gotta say, it's not all butterflies and rainbows like I expected. Today, I want to go more behind the scenes and talk about some of the unfortunate consequences that come with turning creativity into a business. And this video is sponsored by Professional Photographers of America. Join a community of over 35,000 photographers and find equipment insurance, education, and business tools made specifically for small business owners like you. So this video is inspired by one of the things that I dislike about the internet most. You see, the internet is like a giant highlight reel. It takes everything out there and only shows the good parts. It shows the best parts of certain jobs, the best parts of certain trips, the best parts of certain families, but no one shows the other side of that coin. And when it comes to photography, I might perpetuate this problem a little bit with this YouTube channel. You know, I try to keep things positive. I try to show different gear I'm experimenting with. I try to give business tips that I learned the hard way to help you all out, but I never really dive into some of the less enjoyable circumstances that come with turning photography into a business. And for the sake of transparency, honesty, and being real with y'all, I want to do that today. So if you enjoy the video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you are not yet. I don't want to waste too much time on the intro, so let's jump right into it. Number one, probably the biggest thing that comes with turning photography into a money-making endeavor, a business, is the fact that early on, you are 100% going to sacrifice creativity for making money. You are not always going to be able to pursue what you consider to be creatively satiating because now you have to make money with your photography. And when it comes to making money, sometimes you got to do things you don't want to do. And early on, I was doing basically anything and everything I could. Any job that came my way, I would take. And a lot of times these jobs were not creatively satisfying. I wanted to go out and make street photography. I wanted to go out and make art and creative photography, but I didn't know how to do that yet. And I didn't have the skills to do that either. So to cultivate those skills and make some money, I had to go in the direction of where the demand was for photography. And in my case, that was people needing basic portraits, little businesses around Atlanta needing different photos for social media and stuff that I really didn't care that much about. And now, years and years later into my career, I am finally at a point where I can make money with that more creative side of photography, but it took a very long time to get there. This is not an overnight process. And when you're starting out, if you're a true artist and you're trying to satiate your creative drive and also make money with it, the reality is you might not always be able to do that, especially as a beginner. Now, speaking of situations that don't stimulate your creativity, that leads to the second unfortunate reality of turning photography into a business, and that is it's almost impossible to remove yourself from your business if you are focused on creativity. If you take a business-minded approach to photography, it's easy to remove yourself from that business. But most artists who get into photography for creativity and for the enjoyment of making pictures don't want to do this. And this one's a little bit complicated, so let me explain with an example. Let's say you start a company that makes shoes. If you make a good shoe, it doesn't matter that you're the one making it. All that matters is that your company is making the shoes, people like them, and they buy them. When it comes to creativity and photography, if you start your business from this creative standpoint where your business hinges on your abilities, you can never leave your business because the product you are selling is something that you make. This is one of my biggest problems as a business. Everything I do is dependent on the art that I'm making. Now, I've built a system over the years that works really well, but early on I struggled with this and I really overworked myself because unlike someone who has a wedding photography business who can just sell wedding packages based on photographers they have going out to the shoot, I wanted to be an artist. And being an artist means that you always have to be producing something because that is how how you make money. So if you're a creative type and you get into photography for the love of creativity, it is going to be very difficult for you to remove yourself from your business unless you switch over to a more business-minded approach where you hire other people to create for you and edit for you, and you just receive a portion of that like any other business. And if I'm being honest with you, that just sounds miserable, and it's not something that I ever want to do. But I know people who do it and they make very good money, but it is something to consider. If you love art and you love creating, you're also building a business model that always hinges on you showing up. Now, number 3 is definitely a bummer, but it's the unfortunate truth that photographers as a business are exposed to economy volatility, meaning your business is most likely going to struggle if individuals and businesses are also struggling with the current financial situation. Your business as a photographer is typically something that people spend their disposable income on. It's not something deemed as essential. So if a recession happens, your business is not recession proof. An example of a business that is recession proof is something like waste management. People always need to spend money to get their trash taken away. People don't always have to spend money on photography. When times are great for other people as well as other businesses, times are going to be great for your photography business. And when those people are struggling, you are most likely going to struggle as well, unless you have a business model that puts you in a position where you are extremely needed. And for most photographers out there, that's not going to be the case. Now, there is a way around this. You just have to budget appropriately. You have to save money. You have to treat your business kind of like a consultant would treat their business, and make sure you have money set aside for a rainy day. But some people might not want to do that. Some people might want to, be balling out of control and all that. And if that's you, something with this much volatility might not be the career path for you. And that's kind of the perfect segue into the 4th unfortunate truth of doing photography as a business, which is as your business grows, your problems grow as well. One example of this is what I just talked about, making sure you're saving money for when those volatilities can happen. Also, things come up, expenses come up in your business. Maybe you have more taxes than you expected to pay. Maybe you have to pay for some type of service. Maybe you need to get a website and you have to pay for that. Maybe you need to pay for a new camera because your camera broke. There's so many different scenarios that can happen, but the more your business grows, the more potential there is for something to go wrong, and you have to be prepared for all of these things. I have people who I contract for work on this YouTube channel now, and I have to be responsible for these people making money when they expect to make a certain amount of money each month. That is actually a huge stress for me. Having someone else's bills be in my hands and me having to come up with ideas, make sure I'm planning the videos and having to set up the shoots with them, it's a lot of responsibility. And I'm okay with that responsibility, but it is a problem that I didn't have when I was just starting this business, when it was just me. As things grow, you have more on your plate, and it's something you definitely have to be prepared for. But one way to get prepared is actually with today's sponsor, PPA. So one way to alleviate a lot of the stress and pressure that comes with a growing business is having a plan in place if something goes wrong. And that is where today's sponsor, Professional Photographers of America, also known as PPA, comes into play. As a member of PPA, I have up to $15,000 of gear insurance at a low monthly price. PPA also offers full gear replacement options with a flat $350 deductible, as well as data recovery services if your hard drive ever crashes, and business resources like model releases and cancellation letters. And that's what I love about PPA is they're essentially an advocate for your photography business. They are there to help you in any way they can, whether it's more basic stuff like model release forms or business information. They have so much information on their site, or those bigger unfortunate situations like your hard drive crashing or you dropping a camera lens while out on a shoot, which is something that I've done personally, and when I did it, I didn't have any insurance, so I had to eat the cost in my business. And if I had PPA in my corner, that process of replacing that lens would have been so much less stressful. And I wish I had PPA as a part of my business from the start. So whether you're someone who is just accumulating a lot of camera gear and you want to make sure you're protected, or you're looking to take your business to the next level, PPA is where you need to be, and they're hooking up the channel with a very special offer. You can go to the link in the description down below and save yourself $25 on a membership. So it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or you're someone looking to take your business to the next level, PPA is where you need to be. And remember, link in the description to save $25 on a membership. Big thank you to PPA for sponsoring today's video. Now, number 5 is an unfortunate truth that is hard for a lot of people to swallow, and it's the fact that your photography skill is not the only skill that matters if you're running a business. As a photographer, turning photography into a money-making endeavor, you have to learn all the other skills that are required to prosper as a business. This includes things like marketing, things like how to write. This could include things like making short-form videos to help you grow on social media. This could be something like learning how to hire and outsource things. This could be hiring people to sell for you. There are a million different things that you need to learn and get better at outside of just your skill. Your skill is extremely important. It's what gives your business value, and once you reach that top 1%, you might be able to slack off in a lot of these things. But at the end of the day, the people that make the most amount of money are the people who have the most skill in their business creatively and the most skill in their business outside of creativity. The best marketers out there make a ton of money, and sometimes you might look at them and say, their photography is not that good. How are they doing this? It's because they understand all these intangibles outside of just making pictures. And I know that's not a very popular one. Most people have this idea of just wanting to make things and have people love it for what it is, but that's not the reality of how business works. And honestly, that's a lesson I had to learn the hard way. I spent years and years just focusing on my creativity, and it wasn't until I started focusing on the business aspects as well that I finally started to make a little bit of money. Now, number 6 is the fact that self-promotion and social media is constantly changing. This absolutely is a huge annoyance. I wish the internet now was the same way it was 8 years ago, but if you were around 6, 7, 8 years ago, you know that the internet now for photographers is a completely different place. Now, if you are just a hobbyist or someone making photography for fun, this is obviously frustrating and annoying, but it's not the end of the world. If you are looking to make money with your photography and turn your photography into a business, you have to adapt to these changes in social media, because at the end of the day, attention is currency, and you need to do what works to bring attention to whatever it is you're offering as a photographer. And a lot of times, the unfortunate part of this is to grow on social media and promote your business, you have to learn some type of new skill outside of just your photography. This could be writing posts. This could be learning what posts perform well by studying analytics. This could be learning what it takes to create short form videos. There's a bunch of different things you can do to promote yourself, but unfortunately, most of them don't boil down to just simply sharing your best work. That's the fastest way to become a jaded artist in today's social media self-promotion landscape. Now, speaking of social media, unfortunate truth 7 is the fact that there is more competition than ever. Everyone wants to be a photographer these days. Everyone wants to be a creator these days, and creator is just the new term for influencer, in my opinion, but everyone wants to do it. Everyone thinks that what they're doing is the most important, and they're sharing it on social media. And because everyone is sharing so much, there's just this sea of minutia. I have a free guide to Instagram on my website, and in that guide, I call all this content the fast food of internet content. It's just there to stimulate people's dopamine, but it doesn't actually do anything at all. And that's actually kind of an upside for you, because if you want to stand out amongst all this competition, all you got to do is put in the extra work necessary to learn the proper skills to stand out against them. Skills like creating short form videos that actually deliver value, writing scripts in some way that actually deliver value, creating copy or messaging or a brand that delivers value to someone. These are all things that no one actually wants to do, because for the most part, people are lazy. So there is a silver lining to this. And the best part is all this information is available for free online. But back in the day, it was really easy to stand out just on the strength of your work alone. But today, because so many people are just sharing so much creative work all the time, you also have to get more creative in how you are going to beat out this competition. And for a lot of people, this is just something that they don't want to do. Now, at this point in the video, you're probably thinking, yo, all this stuff seems overwhelming. Social media, self-promotion, learning new skills, and it's going to feel overwhelming when you're a beginner. And the only way to solve this problem is by building a system. And that leads to number 8 on this list, the unfortunate truth that building a system for your business takes time and it takes trial and error. This is how a system works. A system gives you outputs when you give it inputs. So in a business, let's say photography, if you do something that is an input and the output you're hoping for is you making money. Now, my business has a system that has taken me years to build. And in this system, I know if I do certain things every week, have certain inputs, I will have certain outputs as well. And the reason I was able to build this system over the last couple of years is because I had enough experience to know what certain inputs should be to give me desired results. And I know what my business can handle in terms of workload. I know what a perfect week looks like. I know what a bare minimum week looks like. But the only way I got to this point is with time. And a lot of people don't like to invest time into something. Everyone today wants immediate results. And the only way to get through the overwhelm of all the things that come with business is understanding what type of system your business can run. And everyone's business is going to look different. I'll talk about my system in depth in another video. It would be way too complicated for this one, so make sure you subscribe for that. And briefly, that brings up the 9th thing we have to talk about, which is the sunk cost fallacy in business. If you choose to turn photography into a business, you need to be okay with the uncomfortable fact that sometimes what you're investing time into doesn't work out. That's the nature of entrepreneurship, but it's a difficult thing for a lot of people to get over. So many photographers, so many business owners go down one road, invest a bunch of time into it, and realize this is not the correct road. And the sunk cost fallacy is that resistance in going back down the mountain and being okay with sacrificing that time and just gaining experience to find the road that actually works. This is an extremely challenging mental piece to business because no one wants to walk up a giant hill only to come back down to the start because they realize they took the wrong route up that hill. That one's a little bit more complicated. You can look into that on your own. That's just the gist of sunk cost. But that leads to the final thing on the list, number 10, which is a scary one. It is the unfortunate truth that emerging technology could impact our future as photographers. Things like AI, things like VR headsets, things like improving smartphone cameras can all negatively impact photographers. People have less need for photographers because they think they can get amazing photos with their iPhone. And iPhones take great pictures, but if you know what you're doing with a camera, we all know you can get a better result. And when it comes to AI, we all know the importance of storytelling and the importance of sharing real life with people, but companies don't really care about that. They care about their bottom line. They're trying to save money. And the fact that they can put a prompt into a computer and receive an image to use for marketing could have photographers out of a job. Now, I'm a little bit more positive when it comes to emerging technology. I think that this technology is going to create a demand for more human experience and more connection. I think people are going to want to connect with people who are sharing their photography online, sharing their real life, sharing their experiences, sharing their perspective, and get away from this robotic AI fake world. But I can't lie, it is scary to think that maybe in the short term, when people are very excited about this, it could negatively impact a lot of our jobs. And that looming uncertain future is definitely an unfortunate truth of being a photographer right now. But that is everything I want to talk about today. This video is not intended to scare you away from your dreams, making money with photography, or anything like that. It is me being transparent and real with y'all and sharing some of the real struggles that have come with me turning photography into a business. And a lot of these struggles were things that I did not foresee when I was a bright-eyed 20-year-old just thinking photography would be the most amazing thing ever. It's still an incredible gift. I'm so happy to run my own business and be my own boss, but there are some things that it's important to talk about, and I don't always just want to share the positives with you. Hope this video helped you out. If you enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you are not yet. Feel free to leave a comment with anything I left off the list. And also big thank you to Professional Photographers of America. Make sure you head to that link in the description on today's video to save $25 on a membership and get some gear insurance as well as business tools and join a community of over 35,000 photographers. Really appreciate y'all watching today. I'll catch you in the next video.